Howdy folks, there is a lot of different topics that we have covered over the years with everything from plasma cutters and welding to shop tools and grinders and thickness planers and what have you. But we've also covered lasers and CNC machines a little bit. And right now I am just absolutely loving my 3D printers. But I've had 3D printers for a little over 10 years now. And I have run into one problem, and that's support material. Drives me insane because you have to remove it afterwards, and I find cleaning the model can be tedious, and it's a bit of a headache. And it gets really bad when you are a 3D printing farm and you have orders to fulfill, and you constantly have to clean the models, make sure everything's good, and then package and ship it out to the clients. So I have experimented with a lot of different tools. Again, pliers and needle nose pliers, different sort of screwdrivers, little flat ones, pointy ones, all kinds of things to try to figure out how to clean the models up and get the support material away. I have one go-to set of pliers that I really like. Yeah, they're right here. Yeah. And so I'm going to provide a link in the description below if you'd like a set. If you're 3D printing and you need to clean up support material from your modeling, you will, if you have these or you get a pair of these, you will find these are like the best. I have not found anything better to clean the material up around the modeling that I had to ship out all the time. But a couple of little things, like when you're pulling support off, a lot of times, because these are bent nose, needle nose pliers, whatever, I will get on there and sort of roll against it, but you always put a pressure against the model itself. That way I don't tear something off of the model usually. I try to make sure, carefully remove the support, but it is annoying and I have to do it constantly. And of all the tools that I have experimented with over the past 10 years, this is the best. This absolutely works. And you don't want them too long because you don't get enough pressure at the other end to grab, and you don't want them too short. But also find the bent nose really works well to get into the tighter spots and allow you to sort of tear the stuff out of the way so you get that support material gone, clean up the model kind of thing. So I'm going to provide, like I said, a link in the description below where you can find a pair of these. They're not expensive, but they seem to be like the best tool I've got in all my toolboxes, with lots of toolboxes here. This is the best one. I find they work better than anything else. Anyway, topic-wise, let's get to topics. There's a lot of topics I wanted to talk about and get some opinion. Yeah, topics. That's really something I wanted to ask you guys about and try to get an opinion, maybe comment below on a situation here. This is just 3D printed, but it's a 68 Camaro. And I've recently I guess we'll call it a barn find. This is a 1968 Camaro. She's in pretty rough condition, but the motor and transmission are still in it. That's a plus. Yeah. And we should do like do the roadkill garage thing, see if we can get it running, pull it out from the barn or whatever. Yeah, drive it home, Yeah, you need a bucket to sit on. There was no seat in there. Matter of fact, I don't know if there's even a seat with the car. I don't think there is, but found the car and was talking to the owner and discussing taking it on as a restoration project. And it would have to be done from the ground up kind of thing, And so I wanted just an opinion out there, would be any interest in watching me week to week restoring a really rough, 1968 Camaro. That could be a new topic, or even, one day a week sort of thing. We'd just switch and do nothing but work on the car and take on the project and go through the motions of what it takes to restore a car. This car specifically would be restored for a sort of a street rod finish. It wouldn't be a totally customized job or a street racer type car. It would be somewhere between factory and a little bit of street rod kind of look to it or something. Mostly because of budget more than anything else, because you can spend a lot of money restoring a car, or if you keep it level and you don't get too crazy, you could do it within a certain cost or budget. Now, I did tell a fella, and it's really a shame, but the 68 was one of the shape and everything. I just think that was somebody needed to get an award for the shape of that car. I think that was just one of the best cars at that time was the 68. There was the 68 Mustang, which wasn't too bad either. But the 68 Camaro was the one that really had my, had always got my eye kind of thing. And have loved them since day one. It was kind of my signature series car. It was the one, if you saw a black Camaro with a V8 and it was loud or something, it was probably me driving it, yeah, around town, it was like, that was just the way it was. Now, there's other topics that I have thrown out. I was talking about maybe doing lessons on plasticity to create something that you can 3D print, like, and going from the very basic modeling of making a square to stretching the square out, making holes in that square, shaping that square or something, and creating shapes to forms to where you get up to, something than this, something pretty cool. So, and of course 3D printing, or talking about the farm and how it's doing this week or something. Sales not running as strong as I expected, but is still doing fine. Another topic, of course, would be solar power. We've done quite a bit with solar power over time, doing testing, like, the difference between like doing a series to a parallel circuit on portable panels, and charging actually the classic system with the charge controller, the inverter, set of batteries, to hold the charge kind of thing. Also, we've done a lot of those power stations. I really like power stations because not only they're portable, but some of them are pretty incredible. They can take in like 1,000 watts charge, and at the same time you can turn around and bang that back out. And some of them you can't. Some of them, they tell you, do not charge this thing from solar while you're using it. And it's like, bust. But there's just a lot of topics. And what I'm looking for is some ideas or suggestions of stuff that we could be covering or whatever, because there is a huge wide range of topics that I can get onto. Everything from, like I say, from restoring a car to messing with solar power. Really like the solar power. But if you own solar panels, and you live in Dallas last week, you may not own solar panels anymore. It's one of the things I'm kind of concerned about. We haven't had a hailstorm here, and maybe we will not have one for many, many years or something, but I've always considered that was probably the biggest threat to solar panels until Hurricane Beryl came through last year. At that point, I realized the solar panels could be at risk for that too, because there's a lot of debris, a lot of junk flying around. And I also kept thinking, if I didn't make good brackets, those panels are going to be ripped off that roof. We're going to go flying in the air. So, yeah, I realized there's a lot of responsibility and a lot of issues going on there going forward with solar panel. So if you do an installation, you probably want to make sure that's a good, strong installation that won't tear off the roof or something. Because when I made the brackets, all I was thinking about was supporting the panels up there. I wasn't thinking about 90-mile-an-hour winds trying to tear the panels off that roof. And it's turned out my brackets held just fine. But I'll be honest, they were not intended for storm conditions. They just, engineering wise, I think I would have put some more nuts and bolts in those brackets if I'd known what was going to happen. Another topic we've sort of thrown out there was, troubleshooting stuff. And sometimes you get some crazy stuff in. Like I had medical equipment in here last week. Well, let me show you what came in this week. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, local restaurant in Santa Fe. Their open sign's not working. It's LED. So it should probably work fine. So what I've done is I've got a new power supply coming in for the sign to see if that's what the problem is, because when I took a voltage reading, the power supply indicated that it was way off. It wasn't where the voltage should be. And so from that point, it was like, okay, we'll wait till we get a power supply in to make any more judgment call. The lights seem to be operating when you do hit them with, in this case, like 36 volts, because this is a 36 volt commercial, open store or open restaurant type thing. This is a restaurant up in Santa Fe. And we need to get this for that poor gal, get it fixed and get it back to her right away. And I'm really hoping that Amazon will hurry up and get that thing over to us so we can check this out. So I'd love to hand the sign back to her as soon as possible. If you've noticed, in the last few months, we really haven't been doing much in the way of product reviews. And the reason for that is really simple. Theoretically, we're for sale, we're moving the studio, everything's going to be moved at some point, and I don't know when that's going to happen. So in order to safeguard all that, I have not been really taking anything in. I did allow this in the other week, but in general, I'm just not taking tools or any review stuff in right now. In fact, we've had some really cool, interesting offers, but because of this situation with being in the don't know zone, it's just kind of hard to take new stuff in and do reviews on it. So it's like, yeah, well, we'll see how it all goes. Hey, thanks for checking in, and please comment below if you have any ideas or anything you'd like to see on the show. Let me know, you know. And in the meantime, I'm out of here. Over and out.